When I first heard about this movie months ago, I didn't even realize it was made by Clint Eastwood. But it looked interesting, and the fact that he made it even more interesting to me. Because I'm a big fan of his as a filmmaker, and have been for quite a while now. In fact, it was Mystic River that kinda introduced me to him as a director. And that movie just blew me away. I mean, I think it's more or less a masterpiece. And yeah, I've been a fan of his ever since, and he's made some great movies after that too. In recent years though, I think they've been more mediocre than anything else. But with this one it looked like he might break out of that bit of a rut. However, did he? Yeah, I'd say so, although I probably wouldn't call this great. I wouldn't put it up there with his best work, but it's still really good. And as far as the filmmaking in this goes, it's pretty much your standard affair. Eastwood's never been known for being a flashy director, and he doesn't pull any fancy tricks here either. But he's really just effective and efficient and knows what he's doing. He sort of stays invisible in the background while he lets the actors and the script do their thing. Speaking of which, another thing I noticed was that the score is very minimal in this. Almost non-existent, and when it's there, it's very soft and subtle. And I would say that all of that just lets the actors and the writing shine. And boy do they shine, because I absolutely loved Paul Walter Hauser in this. But not only him, I loved Sam Rockwell too, and what I probably loved the most was their dynamic, because they just play off of each other so well in this. And both of them get a lot of screen time, so if that hadn't worked, I think this would have fallen really flat, because there's not much else to save it. I mean, as I said, it's a very solid movie, but nothing really stands out. Unless, of course, we're talking about the story itself, which is about the 1996 bombing in Atlanta, I believe, around the Olympics, and about the security guard who discovered the bomb itself. And if you're familiar with that story, you probably know what happened. But I myself hadn't even heard about it before, I don't think. So I didn't really know where the story would go, but let's just say it got interesting. And it actually shares a lot of similarities with another fairly recent Eastwood movie too, Sully. And it's essentially a story about injustice, and if there's anything in this world that gets me riled up, it's stories like this where you get to see how government agencies or big corporations just misuse their resources and their power to walk all over the little guy. And if that was the goal of this one, to rile me up and get me upset, it did it well. But at the same time, it's not like it's a complete bummer of a movie either. Because it's actually pretty funny too, and they found a way to sneak some humor into almost every situation. Not like your over-the-top humor or jokes necessarily, but more of a morose, subtle and dark kind of humor. And the execution of that humor was excellent, which made this a breeze to watch. Because even if it's over 2 hours long, it didn't feel long at all. But not only did the humor help with the pacing and keeping it entertaining, it also helped the movie not feel too dark and depressing. Because as much as it riled me up, it was still fun to watch too. And that really comes down to the writing and the two main performances. Speaking of the writing, I looked up the writer of this before watching it. And it got me a little bit concerned, because his recent movies haven't exactly been excellent. I mean, Gemini Man and Terminator Dark Fate? Yikes. But hey, this and Captain Phillips shows that the man can write. And maybe adapting true stories is more his forte than sci-fi action. But anyway, I ended up liking this quite a bit, and I think it's a pretty good movie. So would I recommend it? Sure, why not? So maybe give it a look, or maybe don't. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through the links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you, and thanks for watching.